Hello, hi everyone. This is Dr. Sana Khan, your biology expert, and you're watching my channel NEET Biology Unplugged. So today we are going to talk on the topic human ear from the chapter nervous coordination. नर्वस कोऑर्डिनेशन के कुछ वीडियोस मैंने ऑलरेडी अपने चैनल पे अपलोड किए हैं, जैसे कि टॉपिक ऑफ फोरब्रेन, मिड ब्रेन एंड हाइंड ब्रेन. कुछ टॉपिक्स रह गए थे जो मैं अब कंप्लीट करने वाली हूँ. आफ्टर ह्यूमन ईयर आई एम गोइंग टू सून अपलोड अ वीडियो ऑन ह्यूमन आई. अगर आप चाहते हैं कि ये चैप्टर का कोई एक पर्टिकुलर टॉपिक जो मैंने अभी तक अपलोड नहीं किया है वो भी मैं अपलोड कर दूं, तो प्लीज राइट इट इन द कमेंट बॉक्स. सो विदाउट वेस्टिंग टाइम लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड एंड स्टडी इन डिटेल अबाउट द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ह्यूमन ईयर. सो ह्यूमन ईयर का काम क्या है हम सबको पता है. तो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट ह्यूमन ईयर का काम जो होता है दैट इज हियरिंग. ओके, सो हियरिंग मतलब कितना हम वाइब्रेशन रिसीव कर सकते हैं, परसीव कर सकते हैं हमारे कानों से. सो वाइब्रेशन जो हम परसीव कर सकते हैं वो अराउंड होता है 20 to 20,000 हर्ट्ज. Apart from hearing, the other function which a ear has is called as maintenance of body balance. So कौन सा पार्ट उसका जो होता है वो हमारा बॉडी बैलेंस मेंटेन करता है वो हम आगे पढ़ेंगे. तो अभी के लिए आप याद रखिए कि दो काम होते हैं हमारे ह्यूमन ईयर के. द फर्स्ट वन इज हियरिंग एंड द सेकंड वन इज मेंटेनेंस ऑफ बॉडी बैलेंस. So now let us come into the detailed structure of the human ear. तो जो ear होता है it gets divided into three major sections. कितने sections में divided होता है ear? तीन major sections में divided होता है. The first one is called as external ear. My PPT is itself very beautiful. You will come to know. Obviously आपने पहले भी मेरे कुछ PPTs के वीडियो देखे हैं कि PPTs काफी crystal clear होती है to understand the concept. अगर आपको मेरी PPTs पसंद आती है तो प्लीज कमेंट बॉक्स पे जरूर लिखिएगा कि आपको मेरी पीपीटीज कैसी लगती है. ऑब्वियसली अगर अच्छी लगती है तो लिख दीजिएगा कि अच्छी लगती है, नहीं अच्छी लगती है तो वो भी लिख दीजिएगा. ओके, सो ईयर जो होता है इट गेट्स डिवाइडेड इनटू थ्री मेजर सेक्शंस. द फर्स्ट वन इज कॉल्ड एज एक्सटर्नल ईयर. The second region is called as the middle ear and the inner section, the सबसे अंदर वाला जो पार्ट होता है उसको कहते हैं हम internal ear. So this area is called as external ear. ये जो बीच का एरिया है इसको हम कहते हैं middle ear and the internal area, this one is your innermost and that's also called as internal ear. So ear is divided into external, middle and internal. Now let us talk about the external ear. So external ear is consists of two parts. The first part, this one, okay, is called as pinna or auricle. What is it called? It is called as pinna or auricle, this one. यूजुअली लोगों में इमूवेबल होता है बट कुछ लोग होते हैं जो ये मूव कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो दिस एरिया ऑफ द एक्सटर्नल ईयर इज कॉल्ड एज पिना और ऑरिकल and this is made up of elastic cartilage. What is it made up of? It is made up of elastic cartilage. ये पिना का काम क्या होता है? पिना का काम ये होता है कि जो भी उसके आजू बाजू जो भी साउंड्स है, अभी जैसे कि आप सुन रहे हो, तो जो भी साउंड है वो उसको कलेक्ट करेगा और उसको नेक्स्ट पार्ट तक पहुंचाएगा. एंड नेक्स्ट पार्ट कौन सा है हमारा एक्सटर्नल ईयर में? दैट इज योर ऑडिटरी कैनाल. तो एक्सटर्नल ईयर गेट डिवाइडेड इनटू टू पार्ट्स. द फर्स्ट वन वाज पिना जिसको हम ऑरिकल भी कहते हैं एंड द सेकंड वन इज द एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी मियाटिस और एक्सटर्नल कैनाल या फिर उसको हम सर्कुलर ट्यूब भी कहते हैं. दिस वन, ये देखिए ये वाला सेक्शन. तो ये वाले रीजन को हम क्या कहते हैं? एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी कैनाल या फिर सर्कुलर ट्यूब, दिस वन. तो पिना क्या करता है? पिना साउंड को कलेक्ट करता है और एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी मियाटिस तक पहुंचा देता है. एंड एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी मियाटिस के बाद में जो नेक्स्ट पार्ट आता है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज टिम्पैनिक मेम्ब्रेन. सी दिस वन. So external auditory meatus or canal leads to tympanic membrane and this tympanic membrane is also called as eardrum. What is it called? Eardrum. So eardrum is formed of connective tissue having outer skin cover and inner mucous membrane. So this is the eardrum. तो इसके obviously two parts है. एक इस तरफ होगा towards this area and the other one would be towards this area. So उसका ये वाला जो part होता है towards this area it is made up of skin. And जो inner part है this area it's made up of mucous membrane. So eardrum is considered to be very delicate structure and it transmits the sound to the middle ear. Okay, so the most important part from the external ear which you have to remember is the first one, that is the pinna, okay, or the auricle is going to collect the sound waves and they are going to send it to this tube which is called as external auditory meatus, which ends up in the eardrum. Eardrum is made up of two parts. This outer part is made up of skin and the inner part is made up of mucous membrane. It is a very delicate structure and it helps to transmit the sound to the next part of the ear, that is middle ear. So now there are certain ceruminous glands which are present over here in your external ear. So this is the external ear where there are very fine hairs present, as well as there are wax secreting gland, जो हम कहते हैं ना wax जमा हो जाता है. So that these are produced because of the ceruminous gland which are present in this region. So ceruminous gland is nothing but the modified sweat gland. कौन सा gland है वो? Modified sweat gland है. And this is the reason why the wax gets accumulated in your ear. Plus, it also consists of fine hair. So now let us come to the next part of the ear, that is middle ear. So external ear complete हो गया है. हमें तीन parts उसमें याद रखना है. The first one is pinna. Okay, it's also called as auricle. The second one is external auditory meatus, which finally leads into a structure called as eardrum. And yes, ceruminous gland मत भूलना, and ये भी मत भूलना कि वो modified sweat gland है. Now coming to the middle part, that is middle ear. So middle ear में तीन ossicles है. Ossicles means यहाँ पर तीन bones है. The first one is called as Malleus, the second one is called as Incus, and the third one is called as Stapes. So this one, the first one, where my arrow is now, yeah, now. Okay, ये वाले जो अभी जो stable हो गया है, the pointer. Okay, this इसको कहते हैं हम Malleus. Okay, this is called as Malleus. This one is called as Incus, and the final one, the innermost one, this is called as Stapes. So ये Malleus looks like a hammer, इसीलिए hammer लिखा है बाजू में. Incus looks like an anvil, and Stapes looks like a stirrup. Okay, so these are the three bones which are present in the middle ear. Okay, and the second thing which is present in the middle ear is this tube, which is called as eustachian tube. See, like this one. So this eustachian tube connects to the pharynx. Okay, so this eustachian tube connects to which part of our body? It connects to the pharynx. So see, these are the three ossicles which you can clearly see. ये जो pink color की है वो है tympanic membrane. Okay, and ये जो purple color का जो bone दिखाया हुआ है, that's the malleus. Green wala is your incus, and the pink one is called as stapes. Okay, so the diagram is quite understandable to clear your concept very nicely. Okay. So now the three ossicles once again see like this. These are malleus, incus, and the third one is the stapes. जिसमें से stapes is considered to be the smallest bone of your body. So याद रखना हमारे body का सबसे जो smallest bone है उसको कहते हैं stapes. और जो सबसे smallest muscle है वो भी ये bone के ऊपर ही है जिसका नाम है stapedius. ओके, एंड इसका जो अरेंजमेंट है वो भी याद रखना है. आपको अरेंजमेंट भी पूछा जा सकता है, तो यू कैन रिमेम्बर इट एज मिस, MIS, miss, malleus, incus, and stapes. So malleus look like an hammer, incus look like an anvil, and stapes look like a stirrup. See, these are the ossicles. Okay. So now these are the three ossicles of the middle ear. Okay. Now these three ossicles of the middle ear, तो जिसमें से सबसे बड़ा जो है, that's the malleus, which is the largest, and it is attached to the tympanic membrane. और जो stapes होता है, that is attached to the oval window. Oval window को हम कहते हैं fenestra ovalis. Okay, so this is the oval window where it is being attached, and that is called as fenestra ovalis. क्या कहते हैं हम उसको? Fenestra ovalis. This one. Okay, so see, this is the stapes which is attached to the oval window, और oval window के just नीचे जहां पर आपको दिख रहा होगा the arrow, okay, the pointer अभी जाएगा. So oval window के just नीचे you have a round window. So stapes जो होगा that will be attached to the oval window. Oval window is also called as fenestra ovalis, and उसके नीचे जो होगा that is called as round window. उसको हम क्या कहेंगे? उसको हम कहेंगे round window. Okay. So these are the three most important bones which are present in our like the middle ear. और middle ear में उसके अलावा क्या present था? Middle ear में उसके अलावा जो present था, that is called as the eustachian tube, which is connected to the pharynx. See, this is eustachian tube. Can you see? So this eustachian tube connects the middle ear to the pharynx. So now what is the function of this eustachian tube? It is going to equalize the air pressure on either sides of the eardrum. So eardrum के left and right both the sides में जो pressure की requirement होती है, जो equalizing pressure की requirement होती है, that is seen by the eustachian tube. So please remember that the middle ear consists of three bones and an eustachian tube. And let us come to the last part of the ear, that is called as internal ear. So internal ear gets divided into two parts. The outer part is called as bony labyrinth and the inner part is called as membranous labyrinth. Okay, so internal ear के कितने parts हैं? Internal ear के दो parts हैं. Outer part is called as bony labyrinth and inner part is called as inner membranous labyrinth. And between these is a fluid called as perilymph. तो इन दोनों के बीच में जो fluid होता है उसको हम कहते हैं perilymph. And this membranous labyrinth, matlab inside the membranous labyrinth, you again have a fluid which is called as endolymph. So इन दोनों के बीच में जो fluid है उसका नाम है perilymph. Membranous labyrinth के अंदर जो fluid है उसका नाम है endolymph. Don't get confused. Endolymph is inside the membranous labyrinth and perilymph is present in between the two bony and membranous labyrinth. Now coming to the last part, major part of this structure of ear is all about your membranous labyrinth, because यहीं पर आपको बहुत सारे नाम याद रखने हैं. ठीक है, external ear, middle ear में तो ज्यादा नाम नहीं थे, but when we come to the inner ear, so inner ear में जो membranous labyrinth है, that's going to be a little bit difficult because here we have a lot of names to be remembered. So membranous labyrinth get divided into two parts. The first part is called as vestibular apparatus. See this entire section जिसपे पूरा yellow color का arrow दिखाया जा रहा है, that's called as vestibular apparatus. And the second one which is circular like a sail, that's called as cochlea. Second part को क्या कहते हैं हम? Cochlea. So membranous labyrinth के दो part है. The first one is vestibular apparatus and the second one is cochlea. Now this vestibular apparatus is again divided into semicircular canals which are 3 in number, which you can clearly see the pink color half semicircular canals. Those are 3 in number. And the next part is called as otolith organ. क्या कहते हैं हम उसको? Otolith organ. And this otolith organ again get divided into two parts, that is utriculus and seculus. क्या है? Utriculus and seculus. Yeah, repeated once again. So membranous labyrinth के दो parts होते हैं. The first one is called as vestibular apparatus. सबसे पहले वाले को हम कहते हैं vestibular apparatus. Okay, तो ये जो पूरा region है ये है हमारा vestibular apparatus. अब vestibular apparatus तीन section में divided होता है. This first section, this one, is called as semicircular canal and this नीचे वाला section is called as otolith organ. This otolith organ again get divided into two, that is utriculus and seculus. Okay, so let us identify the parts. So this is your membranous labyrinth, right? So we are going to identify the part of the membranous labyrinth. तो जो अभी circle किया है वो तो बहुत clear है कि भाई ये तो cochlea है, correct? Because it's like a snail, it's circular in structure. Okay, now this one is called as what? Vestibular apparatus. Then abhi, this one is called as 3 semicircular canals. I think you are able to identify the structures and obviously repeat with me. Then this part is called as otolith organ, which again get divided into two structure, that is utriculus, okay, and this one is called as seculus. So अगर आपको ये नाम याद हो जाएंगे तो it will become easier for you to remember the functions of these parts again. Okay. So now let us talk about the first part, that is vestibular apparatus. So vestibular apparatus में जो सबसे पहला part है, that is the 3 semicircular canals. So if you watch these 3 semicircular canals very closely, they are lying on the different plane, but still they are at right angle. See, but still they are at right angle. So ये plane जो होता है इनका वो different होता है, but they are at right angles to each other. And you can clearly see over here इनका जो base होता है, okay, इनका जो base होता है, ये देखो यहाँ पर इनका जो base होता है, that is swollen and that is called as ampulla. What is it called? It is called as ampulla. So ये जो semicircular canal है वो एक दूसरे को 90 degree पे present है and उनका जो base होता है, that is swollen and it is called as ampulla. Okay, so now what is ampulla? Ampulla contains a projecting ridge. ये देखो ampulla के ऊपर भी एक ridge जैसा होता है, okay, and that is called as crista ampullaris, which are going to have an hair cells. Okay, so ampulla में there is a structure called as like it's a kind of a projecting ridge जो बाहर की तरफ एक ridge आती है ना, वैसे जिसको हम कहते हैं crista ampullaris, जिसके पास होते हैं hair cells. See like this. Sorry. Yeah. So see, this is the projecting ridge. तो अगर ये ampulla है तो ampulla के ऊपर एक ऐसी projecting ridge आएगी जो कि ये है. See, so this is the crista ampullaris, which consists of hair cells inside. Now coming to the otolith organ. So otolith organ में हमने दो क्या पढ़े थे? हमने utriculus पढ़ा था और seculus पढ़ा था. ओके सो ये है सबसे फर्स्ट वन इज योर, दिस वन इज योर यूट्रिकुलस एंड यहाँ पे मैंने टू लिखा है, दैट इज योर सेक्युलस. सो दिस यूट्रिकुलस एंड सेक्युलस आल्सो हैज अ प्रोजेक्टिंग रिज. ओके जैसे हमारे एम्प्यूला पे प्रोजेक्टिंग रिज थी, वैसे ही यूट्रिकुलस और सेक्युलस पे भी प्रोजेक्टिंग रिज होती है, एंड दैट प्रोजेक्टिंग रिज इज कॉल्ड एज मैक्यूला ऑफ यूट्रिकुलस एंड मैक्यूला ऑफ सेक्युलस. क्या कहते हैं हम उसको? मैक्यूला ऑफ यूट्रिकुलस एंड मैक्यूला ऑफ सेक्युलस. So what is this macula? Macula is nothing but your sensory part of this structure. See, so macula. Now these macula is the sensory part, as I told you. Why? Because it is having three cells. The first one is called as the hair cells. See this one. जैसे कि आपके एम्प्यूला में भी थी. The second one are called as supporting cells. See this one. These are the supporting cells, and the third one is called as otolithic membrane. See these are the otolithic membrane. So macula में कौन से तीन parts है? Macula में hair cells है, supporting cells है, and otolithic membrane. So see these are the hair cells. यहाँ पर 2 लिखा है, वो supporting cells है, and the third one is otolithic membrane. Now this is very very important. What is otolithic membrane? It's nothing but the gelatinous sheet having numerous otolith. Otolith means क्या? ये वही है, cells ही है. Otolith बोलो आप इनको, otoconia बोलो या फिर earstone. I've seen many students asking me again and again, मैम otoconia क्या है? बच्चा otolithic organ membrane, sorry, otolithic membrane के ऊपर जो cells है हमारे, उनको आप otolith कहो, otoconia कहो या फिर earstone. And वो कहाँ पर present है? They are present in the macula. Macula of which structure? Macula of utriculus and macula of seculus. Okay, so that's all about the vestibular apparatus का parts. Now which is the sensory receptors over here? Okay, तो चलो हमको तो पता है, हमने start of the lecture में पढ़ा था कि internal ear is a major part of the ear. So इस internal ear में भी कौन सा एक particular parts है जो sensory receptor की तरह काम करता है? So that is cristae. Okay, cristae and maculae. Why? Why is the cristae and maculae considered to be the sensory receptor? Because these are going to have the hair cells. क्रिस्टी में भी मैंने आपको हेयर सेल्स दिखाए, मैक्यूला में भी हेयर सेल्स दिखाए, और अगर आपने इमेज में ध्यान से देखा है तो दे आर जस्ट कनेक्टेड. दीज हेयर सेल्स आर नथिंग बट द नर्व एंडिंग्स. नो, इनकी जो नर्व एंडिंग्स होती है वो हमारे ब्रेन तक जाती है. सो दैट इज व्हाई वी कॉल देम एज सेंसरी रिसेप्टर्स, and they are very important for maintenance of body posture and balance. So second slide में मैंने कहा था कि ear का function है to maintain the body posture and balance. तो उसमें exactly कौन करता है? cristae and maculae. Okay, so next structure that we are going to study is about the cochlea. See, so this cochlea is a very easier structure to study. Okay, it's not that difficult like that of vestibular apparatus. So cochlea ये नाम आया है from a Latin word, okay, जिसको हम snail shell जैसे बोलते हैं, and it looks like also a snail shell. If you see now here on the screen, so it's looking like a more of a snail, right? So it is the auditory portion of the inner ear. So यहाँ के वजह से आपको mainly सुनाई देता है because it is that portion. So it is spirally shaped cavity which is present in the bony labyrinth. So it's spiral in shape and it is present in bony labyrinth. Okay, so now let us see the cross section of cochlea. So cochlea, this image you can see it in your textbooks also. ये आपके image textbook में है. So cochlea जो होता है get divided into 3 sections. The first one is called as scala vestibuli. What is it called? It is called as scala vestibuli. The middle one is called as scala media, and the lowermost is called as scala tympani. So cochlea का जब हम cross section देते हैं तो it is get divided into 3: vestibuli, media and tympani. It is VMT. Okay, it is what? It is VMT. अब scala vestibuli and scala media को divide करने वाली जो membrane होती है, that's called as Reissner's membrane. क्या कहते हैं हम उसको? Reissner's membrane. Scala media और tympani के वहां पर जो membrane है just above the tympani, that's called as basilar's membrane. What is it called? Basilar's membrane. And basilar's membrane के ऊपर we have an organ of cochlea. So vestibuli, media, tympani, Reissner's membrane between vestibuli and media, tympani के ऊपर we have a basilar membrane जिसके ऊपर होता है organ of cochlea. And organ of cochlea के ऊपर there is again a membrane which is called as tectorial membrane. What is it called? Tectorial membrane. Now this is very important as a NEET MCQ. कौन सा lymph है भाई, कौन से region में? तो vestibuli and tympani में you have a perilymph and media में you have an endolymph. So now let us come to the last main part, that is organ of Corti. Okay, this is the organ of Corti. Okay, ये देखो ये है membrane, उसके ऊपर भी मैंने कहा था ये organ of Corti, और ऊपर यहाँ पर होगी आपकी tectoral membrane. Okay, तो अब ये organ of Corti that is obviously located on basal membrane, and इसके पास क्या होते हैं, these are also having hair cells. That is why it is very very important for hearing. So these hair cells are nothing but they are auditory receptors, and they are columnar ciliated cells which are present in the row. So these are columnar ciliated and they are present in row. So these hair cells at the end, see these hair cells, can you see over here? These hair cells at the end, that's the basal end, are in contact with the afferent nerve. See, these are in contact with the afferent nerve. The yellow one you can clearly see like this. ये देखो. So ये afferent nerve से contact पे होती है. Okay, and the apical end contains numerous cilia. See these one. So this is an area. So apical end of these hair cells contains numerous cilia. Hair cells have long stiff microvilli called as stereocilia on their apical surface. So these hair cells have a very stiff microvilli. Why? Because there is a reason. The reason behind it is these microvilli are going to, they are going to have a friction against the tectoral membrane, and they are going to produce that sound. So hair cells have long stiff microvilli called as stereocilia on their apical surface. So these yellow one which I have marked, these are called as stereocilia, and thin elastic membrane projects about the tectoral membrane. So above the tectoral membrane there is a very thin elastic membrane. See this one. So this is a membrane which is above the tectoral membrane, which is thin and elastic. So tectoral membrane acts as a transducer, converting sound vibrations into nerve impulses. So it's going to convert it into nerve impulses. So scala vestibuli, scala media. So these are the pathway which we need to study. See, this is like the vestibuli. Then comes the middle one, that is media, and then will be your tympani. So cochlea में parts ऐसे placed होते हैं, vestibuli, media and tympani. So scala vestibuli ends at the oval window. You remember what is oval window? Yes, we talked know that stapes is attached to the oval window, और oval window के just नीचे होता है round window. तो ये याद रखो कि scala vestibuli oval window पे end होगा and scala tympani round window पे end up होगा. Okay, so scala tympani ends up in the round window. So this completes the entire structure of the like the human ear. So we started with the structure of the human ear, where we did about the external ear. External ear में हमने कौन से parts पढ़े? That is ear, pinna, auricle, external auditory meatus, which leads up into tympanic membrane. Then in middle ear, we studied about the 3 ossicles and eustachian tube. And then in the inner ear, it's the outer bony labyrinth and inner membranous labyrinth. Membranous labyrinth, where we had a lot of structures to be remembered. Okay, the first one was your vestibular apparatus, otolith organ, cochlea with 3 semicircular canals, sacculus, utriculus, macula, and all those stuff which we studied. So these are very, very important. From here, you can get a lot of MCQs. So now let us come to the last part of ear, that is mechanism of hearing. So let us see कि पिना, हमें इतना पता है कि पिना साउंड को कलेक्ट करता है और उसको अंदर की तरफ डालता है. So let us see the mechanism. So external ear, see, is the specifically the pinna is going to collect all the sound waves. It's going to push it to the external auditory meatus, which is finally going to reach the eardrum. फिर ईयर ड्रम से वो जाएगी मिडल ईयर के ईयर ऑसिकल्स से. ईयर ऑसिकल्स वाइब्रेट होंगे, राइट, एंड फिर वो रीच करेगी स्टेपिस से ओवल विंडो. सो बिकॉज ईयर ऑसिकल्स में 3 है ना, मेलियस, इंकस एंड स्टेपिस. सो मेलियस, इंकस, स्टेपिस एंड्स अप होता है इनटू ओवल विंडो. फिर ओवल विंडो के बाद वो जाएगी आपके कॉक्लिया में, बिकॉज हमने पढ़ा ना ओवल विंडो इज कनेक्टेड टू द स्केला वेस्टिबुलाई ऑफ कॉक्लिया. सो फाइनली इट रीचेस टू द फ्लूइड ऑफ द कॉक्लिया. ये देखो, और जब वो कॉक्लिया तक पहुंच जाती है तो वहां पर okay, because of that fluid, okay, there is a waves in the perilymph and endolymph which stimulates the basilar membrane. So अभी sound आपकी कहाँ पे चली गई है? कॉक्लिया. एंड कॉक्लिया के तीनों सेक्शंस में हमने पढ़ा कि पेरी और एंडोलिम्फ होता है. तो पेरी एंड एंडोलिम्फ में there is a little bit of waves, that is a vibration taking place, because of which the basilar membrane moves. Okay, so because of this there is a waves which is generated in the basilar membrane, and जिसके वजह से you know the hair cells bend. If you remember, मैंने आपको कहा था कि जो hair cells होंगे वो bend होंगे, right? And they are going to generate the impulse. So why they are going to bend? Because basilar membrane में movement हुआ है, जिसकी वजह से जो hair cells है, they are going to bend against the tectoral membrane, because ऊपर tectoral membrane है. Okay, and finally there will be a nerve impulse will be generated, and this nerve impulse, now once it gets generated from the auditory nerve, which is your eighth cranial nerve, okay, so it goes to your auditory area of the brain, which is present in the temporal lobe. So here the impulse is analyzed and sound is perceived, and finally you are able to understand whatever you are hearing. So this looks like a longer mechanism, but actually बहुत फटाफट से हो जाता है. Okay, मतलब से हमें लग रहा है कि कितने सारे parts है, जो sound है वो external ear से inner ear तक जाती है, but it hardly take a second. So this is again the schematic of the mechanism of ear. Okay, so this is the mechanism of ear का जो है schematic है. Sorry, yeah. So this is the mechanism of ear. So finally, we have completed the mechanism of hearing, where we can sum up with this steps, like when the pinna receives sound waves, it goes to the eardrum. फिर eardrum में से middle ear से cochlea, वहां पे जो fluid है वहां पर there is a waves generated, because of which the basilar membrane ripples, and because of that hair cells press against the tectoral membrane and nerve impulse get generated, which goes to the auditory nerve, which goes to the auditory area of the brain, and finally we are able to perceive the sound. Okay, so this completes in detail about the structure and mechanism of ear. So if you have understood, and if you still have any doubts, please write it in the comment box. And if you have, I think you must have understood very nicely, because the PPT itself was self-contained to understand in detail. So if you have any doubt, you can even write it in the comment box, or you can mail me, and I'll meet you soon with the next video. Till then, bye everybody, take care, study hard, and do very well for your NEET 2021. Bye, take care.